Hello, this is criminal profiler Pat Brown, and the news is out. It's a wrap for the Madeleine McCann case, according to Operation Grange. Now, what have I always said about that particular investigation? I always said it was a faux investigation. That when they came out with that remit that said they would not include the McCanns in the investigation, that they were only looking at an abduction, I said, this is not a true investigation. This is not how police investigate cases. This is a political issue where they're shutting down any investigation to the McCanns and looking for somebody that, according to the evidence, doesn't even exist, which is an abductor. And I always felt they were going to close this case down as soon as they found a really good person, a patsy, shall we say, to blame it on, which most likely would be a dead pedophile or a pedophile who everybody will believe did it, but you will just close the case down administratively because you say just missing that little smidge of evidence to take the that particular suspect to court. And lo and behold, the last year have been Christian Brueckner and the German prosecutor saying, we got this guy. He's the one who kidnapped Madeleine. He killed Madeleine. We have all this evidence. But then he doesn't have quite enough evidence. And sure enough, as I predicted, they are now closing the case down, from at least Scotland Yard is, in Operation Grange. Now, what Portugal will ever do with it, I don't know. But Operation Grange has spent $17 million on one case, going absolutely nowhere, never uncovering anything useful, always claiming there was an abduction when the evidence didn't support that, and now they've got their patsy. They got their guy, and they're going to close this case down. And I know some people here who believe that Madeleine McCann came to some harm in the vacation flat, that the McCanns were responsible for what happened to her and for her going missing. We'll say, oh, nobody's going to believe this. Nobody's going to believe this. Well, yes, they will. The majority of the world will believe this because the media will trot this out and they will all say, this is the guy, and we're all satisfied with closing the case this way. Now, interestingly enough, the McCanns, they're going to keep their fun going just in case it's not him, which I think is kind of amusing in a strange way. But I guess they just don't like giving up getting the money in. So they're going to keep that going. But the case will be closed down, at least from the British side of things. Now, Portugal, we don't know. But this is the ending I always expected. And when I went out and said in the very beginning that this was a fake investigation, I got slammed by a lot of people. They loved my book, interesting enough, a profile of the disappearance of Madeleine McCann, which I wrote detailing the evidence in my profile that there was no abduction. They were happy with that. But when I came out and said, I think Operation Grange is a fake, and some people were very upset with me. They tarred and feathered me for that and said, we don't want to listen to Pat Brown anymore because she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's saying that they're not going after the McCanns. They're not going to come to the right conclusion on this case. Well, here you have it. Not trying to brag here. Well, maybe a little bit. But, it's just, I'm a profiler. I understand how police investigations should work, and it was not working in a correct way. And it really bugged me that people were falling for that. When they put the remit in and said, we're not going to look at the McCanns, that is not how you do an investigation. You start at the beginning, you include everybody, and then you find the evidence to exclude people or to include people. You don't automatically start with we're going to call this an abduction before we look at anything. That was it was a massive red flag. And so, yeah, I never believed it was a true investigation, and I stand by that, and I hope now some of the people who were really angry with me understand where I was coming from. This is the way I saw it going, and this is the way it's ended up. So, and I'm not happy about it. I might have been happier being wrong, I'm okay with being wrong. I'd rather have a proper conclusion to this case, but here we are, and it's where I expected to be. So, well, we'll see what happens in the future. Maybe there'll be some last minute something, but hey, $17 million of taxpayer money. Sorry about that, UK, because we all know that money wasn't spent wisely and could have been spent on some missing persons cases that really, really needed the help. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that today, so catch you next time. Bye.